Richard, thank you for being with us today.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about your art. It's a unique art. You work with acrylics and different designs. Tell us a little bit about it.
I'm a photographer as my medium of art, and at some point about 2 years ago, I kind of had the inspiration to take photos of what goes on inside a kaleidoscope, and they're all unique images. They're all different, like snowflakes. They're all beautiful. And then it took a while to figure out what process would be good to come out with a static version, because on a computer screen, when you see a slideshow with the backlighting, it looks beautiful. And then I'd print it on paper and they'd look dull. So it took a while to experiment to come up with the right printing and then the right way of mounting it. And I've been using face mounting, which is basically a process where the photos are glued with a kind of transparent adhesive to the back of, directly to the back of glass or plexiglass. So similar to a mirror, and how a mirror shines and pops, it basically turns the glass into the photo, giving it a very shiny, glossy feel, which mimics the inside of a kaleidoscope, which is glass and shiny and that kind of stuff.
So this was all just based on an inspiration of you just wanting to take pictures of a kaleidoscope and then trying to make it pop like it does on a computer screen.
Yes. And so it was kind of a journey of trying different things and experimenting. Even the photo process. It started out with a phone camera, which had a very small lens, which to me was the similar size or smaller than the opening of the kaleidoscope. And when I got beautiful images that were too small megapixels to actually do anything with, I then had to start experimenting with different kind of cameras to get a better image, and different lenses to get the effect I wanted. And it was definitely a journey.
And you're a photographer, so did you have a lot of the equipment that you needed, or were there some purchasing involved to get the effects?
There wasn't purchasing, but there was some kind of building. I'm an electrical engineer by training, and I am a software engineer by profession. And so I'm an engineer, and once I started doing this, I kind of built a cardboard studio and ways of holding the kaleidoscopes in certain mountings in certain ways, and ways of letting light inside a box and taking pictures using the computer, and having light filtered out by building things around the camera. So it wasn't really a matter of buying equipment as much as building some of the things that became unique to this process.
So is it the same process for each one? You use the same type of equipment and surroundings for each one, or does it vary a little bit?
I have all of these came from 2 different kaleidoscopes, and based on the shape and what those kaleidoscopes are made of, there were some differences. One of the kaleidoscopes allowed me to use clamps in a way to make kind of a mini horse like you would for construction, whereas another one was too delicate for those kind of things, and I had to come up with a way that worked, that held that in a certain place without that took into account the fragileness of that particular one.
Wow, so it's really just never ending. So do you see kaleidoscopes and just walking around and say, "Ooh, that could have a nice shape to it"?
I've more from a lens point of view of seeing the world from a kaleidoscope point of view, and if this continues, I've thought of ideas of not necessarily things I could build, but where I'd work with a kaleidoscope maker to make an attachment for the camera to instead of using colors and beads, using the world as the kaleidoscope canvas, and doing stuff with that.
So you're really giving it a lot of thought of where it could potentially go in the future.
Yeah. I'm a pretty good photographer, but number one, there are lots of good photographers. Number two, everybody does photography, and there seems to be a limit to how people see photography as art and what they're willing to pay for and stuff. And And as good a photographer I am, photography, you have to be really unique for sometimes for photos to stand out. When I did this, I knew this was something that I hadn't seen before. When other people see it, it's something people haven't seen before. And I knew this was kind of my new niche that was unique. So I've definitely explored where the niche could take me and that kind of stuff.
I know you're doing the Venice art calls. Are you going to be perhaps thinking about showing someplace? Making.
I'm even though I've been giving this interview, I'm typically kind of shy and stuff. So I've been doing these kind of events both to get exposure, but also as practice for me to be social about my art and talk to people so that I'm ready for that next step of getting in a gallery and finding the exposure of hopefully meeting somebody who's a gallery owner at one of these kind of events and escalating that way.
So just a couple more questions. Now, as a photographer, is there a particular photographer that you've admired over the years? Some pictures or something that's really, kind of guided you? Or is it just you've just loved photography and pictures and it's beautiful capturing stuff?
Yeah, I mean, now as I got further into art photography of doing my own, I started learning about other photographers. But my journey into photography was really about my own personal, just taking pictures. And at an early age, because of some relations my family had, we had access to developing equipment and stuff. So at an early age, I got into more aspects of photography beyond just taking the pictures. And
well, why don't you give us some contact information so people can look at some more of your work?
My Facebook fan page is facebook.com/ryakerphoto. My name is Richard, so it's R for my first initial, and Yaker, Yaker, is my last name, and it's R Yaker Photo, and that's a good way to find me.
Richard, thanks. We appreciate you taking time with us.
Thank you.